Hey guys, today is October 31st, 2021, and I'm going to go over what got done yesterday and what my goals are for today. So yesterday, I finally really started to organize and pack stuff, and that kind of means like getting things in tubs, cleaning my room, throwing out anything I don't need, so we have to move less overall. Um, Also just kind of figuring out how I want to organize stuff for the move, what goes in what box, things like that. And this is mostly like the little stuff. We're planning on getting all the big stuff kind of all in one go eventually there. I also set up GoPro video profiles here. So what's good for indoor low light conditions is not quite as good for outdoor conditions. It's not quite as good for conditions where you are moving a lot, more shaking, more up and down, things like that, where you want more video stabilization. Well, I set up the profiles for these things, and this is like picking the lens. So like linear versus linear with horizon leveling versus wide angle, things like that. And then also the more advanced video settings, so relating to aperture and shutter speed and the sharpness and ISO and things like that. So I figured all that out. It wasn't like I just sat there and suddenly became a genius on it. I watched some YouTube videos about people setting up GoPros. I tested the built-in mics for the GoPro. I'm actually reasonably happy with the default mics on the GoPro. I don't particularly like the directional mics that come with the media mod so much. But I did test them. So I think I'm fine shooting with the default GoPro mic, unless I really want clear audio, in which case I'll probably use a headset with the computer if I'm like shooting myself webcam wise or whatever. I also tested yesterday for the first time the 4K 24 frames per second footage. I tested the point of view shoulder mount with one of the GoPro mounting systems I've gotten. So I also have a chest mount, and that's what I'll be running with today when I go mountain biking. But I got first real test there. And then in that, I had to figure out a whole bunch of stuff about how do I go from this 4K footage I've shot on the GoPro? How do I get that into one merged video that I can upload to YouTube? And so there's a number of steps in that there. I did test the GoPro chest mount yesterday, and this is what I'll be using today. I think I did decide that I generally like it better than the shoulder mount. It's kind of out of the way more stable on your chest. Doesn't feel quite as weird, like it's there. You can forget about it much more easily. And I'm super tall, so my chest mount perspective is actually probably like eye height for many people, which means it's not like super low. But I think this is probably what I'll end up shooting with a lot. But the shoulder mount might be useful in some circumstances. I don't think I'm going to get rid of it, but it's just probably not quite as ideal, just based on my initial testing here as the chest mount. But anyway, I will be using the chest mount today when I go mountain biking, and we'll see what kind of footage that gets. I'll have a slightly elevated camera angle to compensate for me like bending over when I'm crouched on the mountain bike a little bit. But we'll see how I do in setting up that perspective today. While I was prepping for the Bible study yesterday, I wasn't quite sure exactly what we'd spend our time on. We did end up spending a good bit of our time on talking about our online Christian community and the fellowship we have within that, and kind of where we want our focuses to be, how we distribute the time across the forum that we have set up and the WhatsApp group and Zoom. And then also how we might kind of search through and reference past conversations, specifically in the sort of interaction we have on WhatsApp. Then I started writing up all the conclusions for this and kind of summarizing what we talked about and some of the considerations there. And just so if we come back and reference it in the future, we'll kind of know why we're doing the things we're doing and how we came to those decisions. So today's goals also going to be very busy. I'm going to place first off another Amazon order for kind of various things that I've realized that I probably want to. So I placed a test order a little earlier in the week for these rubber kind of like boots for the stackable folding chairs I have, because I don't want them to scratch the vinyl plank floors when we get into the new house. So right now they're on carpet in the apartment, but definitely don't want the floor scratched. So it's just like these cheap little rubber caps that you put on the ends of the chairs. And not only does it keep them from scratching the floor, it also keeps them in place. And so chairs that you plan on kind of using at your kitchen table, you probably don't want the rubber feet on. You probably want like felt bottoms on them, which we'll get to those a little bit later down here. But the rubber feet make sense for chairs that you really don't want moving. So if you're going to stick them in rows and you don't want the rows to get messed up, you don't want the chairs to move, well, then rubber feet make lots of sense. And so that's why I'm doing them for these. Also just more Ziploc bags, not tiny ones, but larger ones, just to help in organizing stuff for the move. Also thereafter, probably just need more of them. And also, I have these fiber brownies that I bake, and sometimes you can put like kind of like a chocolate syrup on the top, And there's this brand that makes it that it has like erythritol, it's the sweetener, and fiber and stuff added. So it's really not very unhealthy. So I'm going to do that so I can make my brownies again. As I mentioned a couple times already, planning on going mountain biking today. So we're going to shoot 4K footage with a chest mount. There's on this local mountain biking trail here, and I'm going to be going on the cyclic here, which I'll take a video of it beginning of the video. It's not quite a normal mountain bike because there's no seat. You stand up the entire time, but I'll go over that a little bit at the outside of that video. Got plenty of threads that are kind of currently rolling on the forum. I think like 2 of them that I want to respond to. I want to finish the write-up about the community things. That's what I started up here based on what we talked about yesterday. I want to make a new thread on the forum. So kind of phasing out, I'd opened one earlier this week, kind of talking about more casual stuff in my life. Well, we came to quite a few conclusions yesterday, kind of about, well, what is the best way to keep the focus that we want? And so probably going to get rid of that one. I want to explain why, though. I don't want to just like silently delete it. So we're going to have a new thread here where I'm going to try to explain all of the ways that we've come up with to try to keep activity on the forum high so that new members can kind of feel like they're part of it, a living community, an active community where they can get as much interaction with other people in the body of Christ as they want. I also want to put the felt bottoms on all the furniture. And this is, well, I guess all the furniture that's not going to have rubber feet. So this is like chairs for the kitchen that you slide in and out, also couches and stuff, just because it fits their feet better. It'll be easier to just stick them on with the adhesive. I'm going to do some stuff first to try to make sure that the adhesive is as effective as possible. There's some Amazon reviews that mention this. Like if you have a really uneven, porous surface, the adhesive doesn't work nearly as well. And so if you take the time to get rid of anything that might cause bumps, so old adhesive or whatever, I don't actually know if I have sandpaper. I think I do. But try to make the surface as even as possible, and then clean it. I have Goo Gone here. Rubbing alcohol might work as well. And if you do all that before you apply the adhesive, it might adhere a lot better, and that will be good because you don't want these things to come off because their whole purpose is so that you don't scratch the floor. And they let the chairs move in and out easy and stuff like that. So plenty to do still in packing and organizing. I did get a good start yesterday, but still have lots to do. And then the last thing, and this is a big one, I want to research and select the refrigerator model that I want to purchase here in a couple of days. So closing is tomorrow, but the things that I need to do before we can really move in, I need to set up the electricity and the water and the trash, and then get a refrigerator. Those are the big 4 things. And there's several things on top of that as well, but those are the main ones that are going to preclude us from moving in. Also get the ball rolling on internet, but we can go, a week or whatever on our hotspots on mobile data if we need to there. And so I also need to figure out how delivery of this refrigerator is going to work, given that I do work a normal 9 to 5, and I'm not going to be there all the time. Well, what day should it do? Can I get it in the morning before I go to work? Things like that. So these are my goals for today. And tomorrow will be exciting because I am closing on the house tomorrow. And then also I'll be trying to set up some of that initial stuff. It'd be great if after closing tomorrow, I can set up the electricity and the water and the trash so that this is the only thing I have to worry about. But we'll see how that goes tomorrow. So with that, I will check back in then.